And we're live. That makes me laugh. Turn on the live chat and make sure I can track you guys as you're coming in. So I put out earlier that I would be doing this live chat right now in the hopes that maybe some folks would see it and be able to jump in. Live chats have not been super, they're not super planned for me. They're like really like kind of ad hoc. And I've had a lot of people kind of in the wake of them be like, oh man, I keep missing it. I keep missing it. And so it's hard, man. Like I try to do the best I can to be as consistent as I can. But the live stuff is like tough because I just decided to go live usually. So earlier today, I put out that I was going to go live and try to give some forewarning in case anyone was around and or interested. What's going on, Dustin? Good to hear from you, man. Good to see you on. Did you see the announcement that I was going to be going live now? I don't know if that mattered or not. But so I'm going to kind of respond to people as they jump in and out. Cool. You did see that we were going to do this. So you kind of made it a priority, I guess. Hey, Miguel, what's going on? Cool. Miguel, it's a new name. I'm not familiar with seeing you too often before. Are you fairly new with the channel? I see a lot of names over and over and over again, so there's a lot of people that I've come to recognize quite regularly. Your name isn't one that I recognize a lot, so if you are new, thanks for joining the channel. I appreciate it. Kind of what I wanted to chat about today, at least get kicked off. Okay, hang around but don't comment. Okay, cool. Well, Miguel, I do appreciate you kind of being around, and I appreciate you jumping in and to comment now. RD, what's going on, man? So I'll kick off a conversation and then we can kind of chat and kind of go from there. So the conversation that I want to talk about is kind of responsibility and selfishness. And so I had to make some pretty hard decisions fairly recently. So anyone that knows me, that has spoke to me, knows that I'm not super in love with being in the Army, which is kind of counterculture to what you're supposed to say if you're in the Army, right? Like, the idea is, it's, 100% fully committed, you're in it. And I have been fairly hit or miss on my love with the Army. What's up, Chet? Good to hear from you, man. You don't like the stash, though. I saw that comment. I saw the vote on the Instagrams for not liking the stash, bro. I'm just doing it as a gag on the wife. It'll probably only last another couple of days at best. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, so I had to make some decisions, and I'm not always in love with the Army. And there's a lot of things about being in the United States Army that is not terribly exciting, and there's a lot of stuff about it that just sucks. But there's also a lot of things about it that is really, really cool and really, really amazing, and almost indescribable how cool certain things are. So for a little while, I've been on this fence before it starts in cops have mustaches. How do you know I'm not a cop, bro? So I've been on the fence for a little while recently, and this idea of wanting to get out, wanting to go be a civilian, has been something that I thought about for a while. Also the powerlifting stuff, right? Like, so in terms of my own personal lifting career, like, there are some things that I would love to be able to achieve. I'd love to serve despite Roger Miguel. I would love to be able to make a kind of an attack on top 10 through 308 raw USPA in the country again. I think I got into the top 10, and then I blew my other bicep, right? So like, right kind of at the peak of my strength and capability, suffered another, tremendous injury and wasn't able to do the things that I thought I was going to be able to do I was poised to be able to hit a 2,100-pound total, and I had fully expected to, but things didn't quite go my way. And so in that, there's this whole like selfish desire of wanting to pursue this high echelon or upper echelon of strength, be one of the best in the country or be one of the best in the world. And I think that from a pure physical standpoint, I have the capability to do so, but the requirements and the expectations that the Army has on me, they are not they're not conducive to one another. And in fact, I would say that they're kind of mutually exclusive. Um, so there's been a lot of things about the Army that I'm just generally displeased with. So for a long time now, I've been saying like I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna get out. And of course, if you know me personally, like you've heard me say it, I want to go do other things. I feel like I can earn more doing other things, etc. So that's all well and good. But the centerpiece for all of that is the word me. And the fact of the matter remains that I have a wife, I have 4 children, and I have a responsibility to make sure that I do the best that I can to take care of them and try to do the best that I can to provide for them, um, in spite of my own personal interests and my own personal desires. So what I kind of came down to was a decision that kind of culminated this week of what do I do? Where am I going to go? What's my future? And I decided that I'm going to re-enlist into the Army, commit more time, and essentially commit the remaining time to cap off on 20 years, essentially. And the expectation at this point now is to kind of do my full service of 20 years and then retire from the Army. And that was a really tough decision. I tried to do the best I can with a lot of different things. I tried to do the best I can in anything that I engage myself in. Um, and uh, Admittedly, lately, the Army and my focus on the Army hasn't really been all that great. Um, so I've had some tough conversations with some of my leaders, had some tough conversations with my wife, kind of coming to grips with what the ultimate decision is going to be. And ultimately, the best decision, for me and for the people that I'm responsible for, is to kind of carry on and ride it out, see this thing through. And the cost of which is, that personal endeavor to kind of reach out and be again, one of, if not the, top powerlifter for, my age and weight group and all that other stuff. Um, so that's kind of a tough pill to swallow, right? Like I'm actually still coping with the loss of that dream. And so, a lot of us do a lot of things, right? Like there's that everyone has, the personal goals, personal expectations, and things that they'd like to see happen. And all of us make sacrifices on some level, consistently all the time. Um, and The only thing that I can say, I think the best thing that I can say is the the only thing in life I ever knew I wanted was children. I found a woman. She loves me a lot. I love her back. And she gave me children, right? So she gave me the only thing I ever knew I wanted. So I feel like I have an obligation and responsibility to take care of her, to take care of them, in spite of those personal goals. So I made a hard decision today, well, this week, and then I saw that decision through today by re-enlisting. So today I actually, rose my right hand, swore the oath again, and committed more time to the Army. And it's bittersweet, so like some people, a lot of people, many people, talk about, re-enlistment being a really happy day and, oh, congratulations. But for me today, it was kind of actually bittersweet. I was without my family, so I couldn't celebrate the day with my family, because this day was more about them than it was for me. Um, and it also represents the death of several dreams that I had. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't be strong, and that doesn't mean that I can't continue to pursue strength, and I absolutely will. Um, but the idea or the ability to be able to mount an attack on kind of the top 10 in the country may not be within my grasp anymore. I had a very unique opportunity with my previous unit that allowed me to kind of the time and space to do so, and I had it and I did it. And I cracked the top 10. 2017 national champion for super heavyweight, a couple of American records, a lot of really cool stuff. And those are all things, right? Like those are things for me. That doesn't do anybody else any great thing. That's all for me. And so I don't know, 2017, 2018, and maybe even some of 2016 were very, very selfish years, and I recognize that. And so it's like, there's this idea of growth, trying to grow, trying to be a better human being, trying to be the best version of myself that I can be. And so, I made some decisions. And so I know that every one of you are going through a number of things or have gone through things or are about to go through something. And it's at some point in time, you got to draw a line in the sand, and you just got to make a decision. Like, this is it. And so for me, the line in the sand was: do I continue to pursue selfish endeavors? Do I continue to pursue things that are for me and benefit me, or do I do something and make a decision that benefit someone other than me? And to a very large extent, a lot of this decision benefits other than me. Um, so that's that. So Dustin jumps in. He talks about always follow your intuition, and I think that you're probably right. Um, intuition is a big thing. And so, if your heart's telling you something or your gut's telling you something, generally speaking, that's usually the way to go. One of the interesting things about the dynamic between my wife and I is decision making. I do not lament over decisions. I make nearly instantaneous decisions, and these are decisions that are often life altering, and I'll make them at a snap, because I like to think that I consider things out fairly well, usually in advance. And so my mind is usually made up pretty fast on something. So I don't tend to lament over decisions. So the following your intuition piece is something that I believe very strongly in. I think that your first inclination on something is probably usually the right inclination. And if you second guess yourself too often or too frequently, it kind of dampers that intuition. So I don't often second guess myself on things, and it's tended to work out for a majority of my life. I've made some bad decisions, but I think far and away, I end up being the house in the vast majority of the decisions, and in that the decision works out for the house, right? So Dustin jumps on, says, "We still think you can do it, giving all you do intelligently. You could also look." Yeah, so I do intend, Dustin, I do intend to continue to do the YouTube stuff. Because even if I can't mount an assault on kind of the hill of top powerlifters in the country, it still doesn't erase all the experience and the knowledge and all that stuff that I've developed over the years. So I still feel like I have quite a lot to contribute in terms of YouTube channel. There's also a lot of different avenues that I can go with and continue to kind of evolve the channel. So I don't think that my continued service dampers my ability to continue to put out decent YouTube content. So I fully intend on continuing to do that. I will keep putting stuff out until people stop watching. So uh, no fear there. Chet, a good man doing what good men do. You're welcome. You're welcome for the service. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know how many of you guys have ever served that watch this, or watching it currently, or will watch it in the future. But I always feel really, really weird when somebody says thank you for your service, because I know that they mean that in earnest, right? Thank you, like, because inadvertently you do things that help me out, and I appreciate that. Um, but it's always hard for me to take that because it's like, what do you say? You're welcome. Like that just seems like such a dick thing to say, to something that I think is, I don't know, much more heartfelt. So to say you're welcome almost seems like cavalier, right? Like it doesn't seem like it's an appropriate response. Suffice to say, I'm proud of my service. I'm proud of the things that I've accomplished so far in the Army, and I'm looking forward to the things that I can do. Um, and I'm grateful for the opportunity that I have. So when people tell me thank you for your service, um, it's so hard for me to like just accept, because I mean the reality of the situation is I get quite a lot back out of it too. So it's not as though it's like this, this pious service where I'm just giving up so much and not receiving anything in return. I'm compensated handsomely for my efforts. Um, so there's a piece of that that almost makes me feel like, I don't know how to put it. I think maybe you guys might know what I mean. Um, but I feel like when people say thank you, I feel like I'm incapable of giving a sufficient response, to the level of gratitude that they're offering me. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's kind of how I feel. I always feel really weird, but I do appreciate when people, recognize it. It means a lot, and I'm glad to do it. And the reality is, I serve with a lot of really, really great people, and I would be capable of next to nothing without all of them. And so I think the thing that makes the Army, or any really organization, great is the people that are there and their commitment to one another. And I think that that's where the Army wins out quite a lot, because within the Army, soldiers' commitment to each other is quite strong. And I feel like that's where we kind of win the day. All right. Walter, what's going on, man? Good to hear from you. As a father, I understand your decision very well. You have to do what you have to do for your family. Question is if there is an option where you could do what you love and earn enough money with. Yeah, there is. I feel wholeheartedly, and that's actually like kind of like husband-wife decision, right? Like argument between my wife and I about my genuine belief that there is no risk to the family, there is no risk to my ability or capability to provide for the family, that I could move out and draw fire, move into civilian life, and be able to do all the things that I'm currently doing, probably plus some. Um, but it's the guarantee. So you moving into civilian life, there is no guarantee, right? So the lack of certainty is something that cannot be unaccounted for. You have to account for the fact of the certainty of it. Provided that I continue to do the things that I'm supposed to do, I will continue to be able to draw a paycheck. Whereas in civilian life, there is the potential that even if I did all the things that I'm supposed to do, there is still a chance that I may not be able to continue to draw a paycheck because of circumstances outside my control. So, on a grand scheme, looking at the whole health of the family, the best, most safest option was to continue service. And so that's what it came down to. And truth be told, I owe my wife quite a lot. She's been through a lot. She's put up with a lot. She puts up with me, um, which uh, unto itself is no small thing. So, in a lot of senses too, I feel like I owe her. So, me volunteering the next 8 years of my life is is really a direct tribute to her and to my kids. Um, yes, there were possibilities and options, but she wasn't comfortable with them. And she's done so very much for me that I felt like I needed to provide for her. If I can get through the next 8 years, I can, earn a pension, retirement, and she will continue to earn that even after I die. And between you, me, and the fence post, it is almost a veritable certainty that I will die before she will. So I can take care of her well after I'm gone, and I don't think that's a small thing. Um, Jumping back up into the talk here, Chet's asking or saying, I've been told that by other servicemen before. No, Chet, I don't think that you should ever hesitate to say, if you feel it, if you mean it, you should never hesitate to say it. Um, as a service member, I feel a certain hesitance to say thank you or you're welcome, or, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like, um, I don't know how to quantify that. It just feels like it just feels disingenuous to be like, "You're welcome." Um, I'm proud of what I do. I'm glad of what I do. Um, uh, but it's just hard to say. It's hard to say you're welcome. But moreover, I will tell you that I very much appreciate when other people appreciate the service, because there are a lot of times where things suck, and it's not a lot of glitz and glam, and it's not glorious. It's outright terrible. And so when people say, "Hey, thank you for your service," my mind goes to a lot of those terrible moments at times, and and then I think about what the greater contribution is, and how some of those terrible moments contribute to the security of whatever, right? Like, not that I'm directly doing it, but that my contribution helps support the overall effort that leaves people feeling safe at night. So, not that I'm doing it personally, but that I'm contributing to that overall effort. And so, for that, um, I like to show the appreciation for your appreciation. So, I don't think you should ever hesitate to say thank you for your service, because I think that that's a great thing, and it always kind of warms my heart when people say it. What I was trying to say by saying this is that I always feel like I fall short in an appropriate response. I don't know how to appropriately respond to it, because it feels like to say you're welcome almost seems trite, and I feel like that's inappropriate. So I hope that maybe you can understand and appreciate where I'm coming from on that. Um, QQ, what's going on, man? Jumping in. Life responsibility, selfishness. Uh, yeah, it does. It does include answering the phone when the wife calls. Um, we had a kind of a good fun with that, though. It turned out to be kind of an interesting little segment in the last video that we did, and she appreciated it too for what it is. She's not super into what I'm doing with the YouTube thing. My wife is very private, and does not like expressing openly anything. So her and I are diametrically opposed on a number of levels. So I frequently think to myself that it's an absolute miracle that her and I work out together. But I think it's because we are so very different that things work out pretty good. Uh, Irrespective, she's not super into the whole YouTube thing and being open and just like putting my life out on the internet. Um, so so that's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic about how she responds to the videos and things like that. And I feel like she was a pretty good sport when I put her on the spot. So, but yeah, answering when your wife calls is generally speaking a great thing to do. Red Death, jumping in talking about it's hard to make decisions like that. Um, yeah, if you the more people you bring into your life, right? Like directly, wife, children, especially. But then it extends out to potentially grandchildren, nephews, nieces. The more people that you bring in and kind of begin to take responsibility for, the harder decisions can be sometimes, right? Because ultimately you begin to take responsibility for more than yourself. And I think any one of us can probably put up with quite a lot of bullshit, or can tolerate this or tolerate that, or do without this or do without that. But when you start talking about little people, children, who they're not making the decision, right? They're just trying to live life like you tried to live life when you were 5 or you were 6 or you were 12. They don't know about some of the struggles of the world and things like that. It gets tough. Um, and I think today, me reenlisting, me, kind of accepting the responsibility of staying in, and doing the quote unquote safe route. Um, I feel like it's a step in a direction of kind of shucking away selfishness to some extent. Not that I'm not a selfish person, because I very much am in a lot of instances. Um, Not my greatest character qualities, but it's something I can acknowledge on myself. Um, but yeah, trying to be less self-centered with the people who are most important with you, I think is generally a really great thing to do, because anytime that you can be less self-centered with those people who are most important to you, it probably works out for everyone's benefit. Provided provided that gets reciprocated, right? Because if it's all just give, that can go sideways real fast too. Devon, hey man, glad that you're here. Glad that you jumped in. Did you happen to see that I posted I was going to do the live chat, and did it help you catch this? Because I want to see if I do stuff where I put it out there to say, hey, I am going to do this at this time, that you guys have the opportunity to make the decision if you are or are not available, or are willing to stay up or whatever. So let me know what you think. I'm curious, Devon. Let me know. No amount of compensation can be sufficient to cover leaving family for you. Oh, dude, I'll tell you what. There is nothing in my career that I hate more than my time here. Now, granted, I am doing the best that I can with what I've got. Right, like I'm making lemonade over here. I'm doing the best I can. Some of the silver lining is I've got a lot of extra time to work on the channel. So the channel has really grown quite a lot since I've gotten over into Korea. And that's amazing, right? That couldn't have happened the way that it has happened if it didn't happen the way it happened, right? So if I was still in the States with my family, I would have a lot of familial obligations that I would have to be participating in. And so the videos, the contents, and the stuff that I've been doing, like I wouldn't have been able to have the time and space to do it. So as easy as it is for me to be pissed off about missing time with my family and not being able to be there to see my daughters go to some of their dances, and to see birthdays and Christmas and Halloween, and right, like, super bitter about all those things. Like anything else in life, you have a choice, and it's all at how you look at stuff, right? So, like, case in point, it's if you want to change your world, you change your perception, right? You change how you look at something. So if I hold this can up like this, when I look at this can, I see something, right? I see original taste Coca-Cola. It's not what you guys are seeing right now, right? So the only way that I can change what I see right now is if I change my perspective. And the best way for me to do that is kind of turn the can. And it's not too dissimilar from life in general, right? Like, if you want to change your situation, you change it how you look at things, right? Because life is not about what happens to you. Bad shit happens to everybody. Life is really more about what you do with it, how you react to life. That's the make or break. Um, so not excited about being in Korea and being separated from my family for a year. Really, 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 really not excited about that. But looking for that silver lining, trying to find the good, I think separates me from a weaker person. And so while I have my moments of weakness, where I feel down and blue and upset and alone and all that other stuff, I go through that whole myriad of emotions. I try very hard to stay as positive as I possibly can. I got to scroll up and catch up with you guys' comments, so tolerate me here for a minute while I catch up to where we are. Um, so that was talking to Dustin's comment about the Korea deal. Simon, Simon and Dolly are watching. So hi, Simon and Dolly. Hope you guys are doing good. Appreciate you guys checking it out and being with us. Um, yeah, awesome. I appreciate all your support for the channel too. You guys have been amazing. Chet saying Roger that, tracking on my comment of showing appreciation for service members. It means a lot to me. I always like it when people do it. I just feel like my response is usually insufficient. Simon, man, sometimes has to put his family first. Yeah, and that's really where it came down to for me, Simon, is making that decision to put the family first. Set aside my personal goals and endeavors, because quite frankly, some of my personal goals and endeavors uh, won't feed the family, won't put a roof over our heads, won't do the things that are necessary to provide and make sure that we're sustained. In fact, some of those personal goals have a really good chance of hurting me quite a lot and actually limiting my ability to continue to provide for the family. Being top 10, or top five, powerlifter in the country or the world or, whatever, is pretty costly. And if you get hurt, that puts you down for a while. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Um, Yin and yang, yeah, both sides of it, equal sides of the same coin for sure. It was fun. Yeah, yeah. QQ was talking about the privacy thing, right? Like the wife is a much more private individual than I am. I, generally speaking, don't really hesitate to share stuff, um, because I don't know. I feel like one of the great things in life is expression and sharing. If you keep everything to yourself, I feel like it's not. I don't know. For me, it's not a fulfilling life. I feel like I'm fulfilled by sharing and expressing and all that other stuff. So having the opportunity to kind of like be with you guys and having you guys be willing to watch what I'm up to, means quite a lot to me because it kind of fulfills that necessity for me to be able to share and contribute and whatever put out. So hopefully the stuff that I'm doing continues to help you guys because that's the whole aim of it. Um, let's see where we at. Um, So Dustin's saying it is helpful. Okay. So in future iterations of these lives, I will try to do the best I can to plan it, and have a set time and put it out at the very least, several hours in advance, so that you guys hopefully have an opportunity to check it out and know that, hey, I'm going to go live at XYZ time, and you can make the decision if you're going to stay up or be late to work or do whatever it is that you're going to do to be able to check out the video. Um, yeah. All right. So RD is talking about making the play to be the best father that I can be. Um, and I'll tell you guys, again, between you, me, and the fence post, the thing that I love the most in this planet, is my kids. There's nothing I wouldn't do. So giving up all of my dreams, um, is really nothing. I mean, I made the decision like that. It came down quick. So it is what it is. Devon, it helped give you a reminder. Okay, cool. Well, good. So that I'll try to do the best I can to continue to drop a little reminder. Say, hey, I'm going to do this at this time. Simon Doss talking about the heads up on the reminder help, or the heads up on the live chat help. So that's cool. Adam Strongman, man, what's going on? Greetings from or afternoon from the UK. Oh, Jim Dad. Okay, Adam, I appreciate you being here, Jim Dad. Whatever name you want to go by, alias. I appreciate you checking out, and cheers, brother. I think that's often. I've met a few. I've had a few friends that I've met through the army, um, who were soldiers in the British Army, Brits, and those guys are fucking cool. Every one of them I ever met, I always liked. So I don't think I've ever met a Brit I didn't like. Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever met a Brit I didn't like. Also, never met a Marine I didn't like. Um, just interesting. Uh, Yeah, you're right, Devon. Yeah, you got to go where the money is. You got to go. Sometimes taking the safe bet's not necessarily a bad thing either. QQ's asking what my heaviest front squat is. I actually hit my heaviest front squat like a couple of weeks ago or a week ago as a 405. So front squatting for me was never a big thing, like ever. Never did a lot of it. And I don't have the mobility to do like the true front rack. Like I don't know if you can see that, but that's as close as that thing's getting. Like that's not getting any closer. It's not happening. So I can't do the front rack like a lot of people do when they can. They're very proficient at front squatting. What I have to do is I have to set that bar real high up on my collarbone and just kind of hold it and do that deal. So yeah, never spent much time or energy doing front squat. The heaviest I've hit is 405. I feel like after I did that, I could probably rep it pretty easily. So I'm thinking my best front squat would probably be something north of five, potentially into the sixes without much training. Um, and I may try it just to kind of screw around and see what I can do. So maybe I'll catch a wild hair um, and do some front squatting and see what my front squat max is. But so far it's 405, which is not that impressive. At least not in comparison to what my total squat is. Um, Chet, you're welcome. So, for any of you guys that see this now or with me currently, or see this in the future, I have my IG and I'm way, 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 way active on my IG. I check it all the time. I'm on there every single day. And I am absolutely a fan of following people. I'm not one of those snobs that's not going to follow somebody back, but I don't do the follow for follow. So just because someone jumps on and follows me does not necessarily mean that I'm going to follow back. Um, what I'm into is lifting, strength, the pursuance of betterment, right? Like I'm into that. So there's a lot of people that follow me that do a lot of other stuff. And I'm not necessarily super interested in seeing a lot of the other stuff. But I absolutely welcome any one of you guys. If you think that you're doing a lot of stuff and you'd like me to follow you, um, sometimes I miss posts. So if you're just posting on my normal feed, I don't necessarily see every post in my feed. If you want me to see what you're up to, either hashtag train to spite or just tag me. So there's been a number of people that I was missing them. And they're like, "Hey man, I want you to see my squad." Like, just tag me, and I promise I'll see it, and I promise I'll follow you back. Um, so super into following people back. Super into seeing what you guys are up to, Chet. I appreciate that you got a sense of validation for me checking out and liking the things that you guys are doing. I genuinely enjoy scrolling through and seeing you guys and seeing names I recognize, seeing a face to the screen name, and I like seeing you guys do cool shit. So yeah, I am absolutely not at all reserved about following other people or following back. I just don't do the follow for follow because I think that's kind of a bullshit model. And I don't follow stuff that I'm not super into. So if your focus isn't really lifting and the pursuit of self improvement, I'm probably not going to be like super inclined to follow back unless I'm really into what you're doing. And I don't mean that as a slight, but we're into what we're into. So um, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Adam, just work 8 days a week, 26 hours a day, and you'll be fine. You know what? Right. We could always earn more money. I I'm sitting here and I have this little to-go box because I went out. I had my reenlistment, and my friends took me out to dinner after the reenlistment, and we went to have this Texas Roadhouse, which they just built here on Post, brand new, and I haven't been there yet. So they took me out to dinner at Texas Roadhouse, and so I'm sitting here with this little scrap of leftovers sitting in front of me, and I can smell it, and it's driving me nuts because I love meat, love steak, and so so you guys are gonna have to forgive me because I'm gonna eat in front of you. Sorry, not sorry. All right, all right, Devon. Good luck at work, man. Thanks for checking in. I appreciate you very much, brother. I hope I caught you before you peeled out. Um, Chet used to have a YouTube channel. Yeah, man, he used to have a giant ass YouTube channel. Like, yeah, 14K. Yeah, that's a lot of subs, man. Like that's so growing this channel, I grew it essentially off of nothing. So to be where I'm at right now, I feel super accomplished. 14,000 subscribers is like a lot more than I have. I'm sitting under, right around 2,500. And I feel like I'm over the moon about it. Anyone that jumps onto the channel and is willing to check out what I'm up to, like, I think that's amazing. So 14,000 is an achievement that I can only hope to get to. Yeah, run your channel, don't let it run you. So that was evidence kind of early on. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, probably not, but I've mentioned it. Early on the channel, I tried really hard not to swear because I thought that would make the channel um, more palatable to viewers, right? Like, because swearing is generally speaking, I think, kind of like a you know uncouth kind of a thing. I guess people generally look down on people who curse. I guess, and in most civilized conversation, it's not necessarily appropriate. But you got to understand, I'm active duty Army. Very little of my coke that we were looking at earlier. Very little of my day-to-day life is, socially appropriate. Um, so the way that I am, I swear a lot. I tell dirty jokes. I have a fairly dirty mind. My inner 12-year-old bubbles just ever so slightly underneath the surface at all times. So I saw I saw a captain. No, I guess I shouldn't say that. I saw I saw another soldier, and this soldier's name. Um, I can't tell the full story now because I don't want this person to see this and to get upset with me because they very well could. So this person has a last name that if you were a 12-year-old, and you heard it, you go. It's exactly what I did as soon as I saw. It was like I didn't mean to, but it was like I was overwhelmed by like just the of it. So my 12-year-old was like always just bubbling right there. So anyway, tried to do what I could not to swear, trying to be more palatable. And then I realized, like, you know what? If any of you guys ever actually meet me, you're going to realize very quickly that what you're seeing on the channel is not actually what I really am, because I'm fairly foul mouthed, and whatever. So I just was like, you know what? If it costs me a subscriber or somebody doesn't want to jump onto the channel because I swear or I tell a dirty joke or whatever, better that we all know that right now than whatever down the future when you're wanting me to sign your son's something or other, or whatever, some moment where you're like, oh hey, will you, and I'm like, hey, yeah, fuck yeah, and you're like, oh my god, he swears. Yeah, I swear a lot, I swear all the time, tell dirty jokes. I'm basically the most inappropriate person in my office at all times. And so I figured I might as well just get out in the open right now, and then you guys can decide up front if you're about it or not. The comments are coming in through kind of fast, so I got to scroll back up to kind of check out where you guys are at. Miguel, your forum checks have led a lot. Light bulb moments. Okay, cool. So Miguel, always super happy to be able to do the forum checks and stuff. Like, that makes me really happy to be able to help. Then I feel like the forum checks are like a really great direct way to be able to help people. Because, like, for example, if you give me a forum check and you're asking a direct question, or hey, look at my forum, whatever you're doing wrong is probably something that a lot of other people are doing wrong too. So just the opportunity to be able to weigh on it for me is like something that I think is really cool. It was my way of kind of giving back. And so I'm glad that there are things that I've done with the form checks that have resonated with you. That is exactly the intention, and I'm very grateful for it. Let's see. So, all right, Adam, I'll call you Adam, not Jim Dad, because it makes you sound old. But it's funny too, because somebody called me Jim Dad the other day, a week or so ago, or maybe a little bit more, and I was like, Jim Dad, like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh yeah, how you just run around and take care of everybody. You're trying to help everybody, and so that was like, oh, okay, Jim Dad, I guess. Like, yeah, I don't want to see anybody fail, and I certainly don't want to see anyone get hurt. So, sure, I'll take the name Jim Dad. Um, so no, I don't think that Jim Dad necessarily makes you sound old. I think it makes you sound like you know what the fuck you're talking about. QQ, powerlifters with the heaviest front squats do the cross arm too. Okay, cool. Yeah, you're looking at dudes like Jezu Uepa, right? Because most powerlifters not all that flexible in the upper body range. If you haven't noticed, not a lot of that overhead mobility work, and that's one of the biggest limiting factors for I think powerlifters getting into CrossFit or Oli lifting or whatever is that lack of upper body mobility. We just don't have it because of all the benching. Benching tends to tighten things up in the pec and the shoulder, and so yeah, overhead stuff not that great. Here, that's it. That's all I'm doing. And anything to force me into position is gonna be mad uncomfortable and give me like tendonitis and whatever other issue. So yeah, that cross arm front squat is all I can do. Red Dead's talking about eating rotisserie chicken. Yeah, but I can't actually see you eating rotisserie chicken, RD. So it's different than me like mowing down that little piece of steak I had. Um, New to the strongman scene, came third in my first competition in January. Um, I've been training people. Yeah, I think one of the greatest things about strength is the community. Being able to just jive with people, right? Because when you're willing to dedicate yourself to something and try and put an effort to make yourself better, there's a commitment that goes along with that, and that commitment to oneself also kind of parlays very well into a commitment to others, and then there's a kind of a camaraderie that goes along with all of you cumulatively who are willing to put yourselves individually through hell. When you guys come together, it's a really cool thing because then you're willing to support one another and in, by some senses, willing to go through hell for one another. And there's something very awesome about that. So, by whatever by whatever level of experience, the fact that you're willing to contribute to the community, Adam, is a huge thing, and I think it's great. I applaud it absolutely. Um, Miguel found you when you said you're never. Yeah, so I think so far the record at Never State still stands. I think Olu will probably be the first person to crack it out of there. But yeah, man, like a lot of folks jumped onto the channel from that video with Never State, the deadlift party that Brian put on, and I'm super grateful for that. Like that was really cool. Um, Interestingly, I'm here in Korea right now, but at some point I won't be, and so I very much hope that I'll have the opportunity to be able to travel and go visit all these guys. I want to go visit Joe. I want to go back and visit, Never Sate with those guys. Get out to different locations, train at different gyms. Show you guys all kinds of different stuff. And I think that there's some really cool things I can continue to do with the channel, even if I'm not, top 10 powerlifter, USPA, etc. I think there's some cool stuff that I can continue to do, and I hope to be able to do it. So looking forward to that. And I just want to say thanks for, finding me through that video, and thank you for sticking with me and sticking with the channel and sticking with the community for as long as you have, Miguel. It's pretty awesome. Miguel mentions when he witnessed giving deadlift tips at Brian's gym. We knew you were legit. Yeah, I think maybe you're talking about the work that I did with Billy. Billy was having some issues with his deadlift. It was kind of stagnant for a while. And in just the short time of working with him that one night, shortly thereafter, I'm fairly sure he hit a pretty decent PR. And it was just a few things that he needed to tweak on his deadlift. Um, and I thought that was pretty cool. So that the ability to work with him and the ability to see him move into a new PR fairly quickly for me was a very rewarding experience and made it all super worth it. So I'm glad that the opportunity I had to work with Billy meant something and resonated with you guys as well. I thought that was pretty cool. Walter, um, something cultural, but I, I don't know, man. Some people are super turned off by it, and I respect it. I respect it. If you're just like super not into cursing, cool, I got it. But I'm also going to be honest. I really don't trust somebody who doesn't curse, and I really don't trust somebody who doesn't drink. Um, I feel like, especially in the military, a lot of the best conversations, a lot of the best relationships and bonding moments happen over drinking and a lot of swearing. Um, and if you've ever been in the service, I think that you'll know exactly what I mean. Um, and by service, that also extends to police and the police service um, is very similar in a lot of ways to military service. Not exactly the same, but pretty similar. And I feel like all the best relationships, deals, negotiations, all that stuff, that all happens over drinks because you relax and you just become more you. I feel like when you've got a drink or two in your system. So like when someone denies, like, I don't drink. To me, it's like, what are you hiding? But some people have had issues, so I got to respect that too. So some people, like, they've recognized that they have an inability to handle it, and so need to be away from it forever and always. And I respect that. Um, so there, I guess that's the one caveat to the statement. Um, Adam is mentioning swear, dirty jokes, inappropriate sound. Yeah, that's one thing too. I really dig about Brits, man. Brits' sense of humor and Brits' jokes are fucking filthy, dude. But it's hilarious. Um, Man, I love hanging out with the Brits. Uh, Funny story. Early in my career, deployed over in Afghanistan, had an opportunity to make friends with some of the Brits, and had a lot of fun over there. They had access to things that I didn't have access to, and I'll just leave it at that. And so hanging out with them was a riot. And man, I profound, profound affection for all my Brits. Love those guys. Um, QQ talking about Jezza's. Yeah, Jezza is an absolute tank. You are goddamn right. Olu has an advantage. He draws strength from his ancestors. I'm gonna tell you guys honestly, like Olu and I talk fairly fairly regularly. I actually talk to Olu constantly. In fact, I'm gonna throw it out right now. Let me get some thumbs ups if you guys want me to call Olu because it's about noon where Olu is right now, and he actually might answer the phone. So give me some thumbs ups if you want me to call Olu on the phone, and we'll see if we can chat at him real fast. Um, Skylar, I'm trying to build my city strong and powerful community. And tips you'd like to have? Um, yeah, social media. So use social media to talk to other people and start finding other people who are interested in it. Host events. So you might be something like you have people at your house at first, where it's like two or three people, and then once it grows, build out. So if you look at most other establishments that have become successful, is they tend to outgrow themselves. So much like a snake, outgrows its skin, sheds its skin, jumps into something, grows and becomes bigger. A lot of successful establishments do the same thing. Look at super training with Mark Bell. It started very, very small. It was like a rental shed or something like that, or a piece of a gym that already existed that he rented. And his gym has grown several iterations where they're now this, thousand, multi-thousand-foot or square foot, facility, blah, 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 blah. But it all starts with establishing something and building a community and building a sense of belonging. And so if you can do that on the scale that you can do it best. So if you can bring people to a park and organize a Saturday, strongman event at your local park, then whatever. If it's easier to do at the house, then do it at the house until you outgrow the house, and then move up from there. But use social media, I think, to lean forward and reach out to other people who share similar interests or who might be interested. Would be my advice, Skylar. Let me know if that's helpful. If it's not helpful, I'll think of more. I always really want to know if the advice and the thoughts that I give um, are helpful or mean anything to you guys. Ah, QQ doesn't drink. What is love without trust? I don't know, man. I don't know. You were so dear to me before. You've fallen so far. All right, guys, you gave me some thumbs up. I am going to try to call Ulu and see if he answers. Calling Olu. That's Olu. Olu!
Oh, brother.
What's going on, man? Hey, I'm doing a YouTube live video right now, and the fans on YouTube, and when I mentioned you, they're like, they're talking about how amazing you are, and I was like, I talk to Olu all the time. I was like, in fact, I think he's probably awake. I could call him, so I got some thumbs up to call Olu. So I called you. So will you say hi to the YouTubes for me?
Hey, hello guys. How you doing, people? Brad is a great guy. How you doing, people? Glad to meet you. It's glad to speak to everyone.
So you're at work right now, yeah?
Yeah.
Man, how you feeling?
Oh, okay.
You getting ready for that comp?
Yeah. I'm supposed to. I just, I just kind of listen to my body this week. I'm supposed to go heavy on the squat tomorrow, but I'm just gonna, slow down, let my body recover. Then, the weight I want to go for tomorrow, I'm just gonna rest up, like do a lot of, more like a deload tomorrow, then increase it by 10 pounds next week. You gotta listen to the body and be smart.
Gotta listen to the body, man. That's right. When's the comp?
It's on the 30th of March.
30th of March?
I just kept it as a secret, but I think it's out there now.
Uh-oh. Yeah. All right, so
it's like
tell the people.
Like a USB. Well, it's a USB drug-free powerlifting meet, so to say. So that's the competition, or that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. Cool, man. Well, I don't want to keep you on the phone too long. I know you're at work, and I'm sorry to put you on blast, but I thought it might be kind of a fun thing to check in with. Oh, Lou, swole Lou. Yeah, man. Hey, I'm gonna be back pretty soon. I don't know if I'll get a chance to pop up there,
okay.
But I'm gonna get up there soon. I promise you that.
All right, brother. All right, brother.
It's good to see you, man. I love you, brother.
Love you too.
Later.
All right, bro.
All right, so we talked to Olu. I don't know how exciting that was for you guys, but I'll tell you what, man, I love that dude. And you guys kind of, if you saw the videos of me, you saw Brian's videos, you saw my videos, you saw Nick's videos of the time that I was up there. I feel like I got pretty close to those guys. And Olu he's really astonished me. He's gone out of his way frequently to reach out to me and be like, "Hey man, what's up? How are you?" And so I genuinely consider all of those guys great friends, And but I genuinely consider Olu to be a really good personal friend. Um, he's a good dude, and so yeah. So hopefully that was interesting, at least for you guys. I don't know. Let's see. Uh, Retire cop. Chet's 5 month retire cop. I love it. Um, yeah, I think the swearing can show passion. I saw some stuff on like YouTube and some other stuff about how people who swear it actually is a sign of intelligence. I don't necessarily believe that, but I like to think I'm a fairly intelligent dude, but I do swear a lot. All right, so yeah, so I got thumbs up from Chet, QQ, Skylar. There's Seth checking in. Seth, what's going on, dude? You may have a similar story about the Brits. I do love working with the Brits, dude. The Brits are badass. Never met a Brit I didn't like. Not ever. Now I'm sure there's probably potentially some Brits out there that I might not like. Um, but all of them, man, they're usually just solid dudes. Um, yeah. And some of the stuff that they say is like, uh, it's crazy. Like, I love some of the sayings and things that they say. It's like they definitely have a different way of speaking with the Queen's English. Red does say that I have a thumbs up. So got a lot of thumbs up from you guys. Um, Adam saying, to be honest, from Essex, England, spent a while working with the army. All stories are true, and yes, the women do wear white stilettos to their knees. Um, so, all right, so I'm gonna tell you guys a story. Fairly inappropriate story, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. So early on in my life, when I was much younger and I wasn't married, I was working at a GNC, and this woman came in and was ordering a bunch of supplements, and she had this like British accent. And of course, like I grew up in a fairly small town, kind of in Michigan, um, kind of an extended suburb of Detroit, and so I wasn't used to this at this point in my life, and it was fascinating. And she was beautiful. Well, come to find out, this girl, she was born and raised in South Africa, and so South Africa has kind of a Queen's English um, dialect, I guess. So there's a lot of similarities between South African English and British English. Not the same, totally understand that, but some similarities. And so her and I met, and we started dating, and whatever. But there was a lot of things that she would say that I wouldn't necessarily understand, and so I remember distinctly one day we were in the kitchen of her house, and she handed me something, and it was a piece of trash. It was just whatever. It was just this thing, and she's like, "We throw this in the dustbin," and I was like, "What?" She's like, "The dustbin," and I was like, "The what?" And she says, "The dustbin," right? So like this goes back and forth like 3 or 4 iterations, and I was like, "What the fuck are you asking me to do?" She's like, "The trash can. Throw it in the fucking trash can," and I was like, "Then why did you just say the trash can?" I was like, "What the hell were you saying?" She's like, "The dustbin." And so apparently that was like a thing, like dustbin, trash can, right? Like I didn't know that those were the same thing at that point in time of my life. And so it was a very like interesting experience bridging the gap in communication between some of those sayings. Um, but occasionally something I would do, something that was like, kind of cheeky or naughty. And the thing that always killed me about her is I'd say something, kind of cheeky at her, and she'd bite her lip. She'd, "Oi, fuck off." And it was dangerous, man. It was absolutely dangerous. Those years are behind me, but it was fun while it lasted. Anyway, language barriers sometimes not all that bad. Um, Skylar, yeah, Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I'm glad that that advice helps. It's just saying staying consistent. So if like you're gonna do something, you're gonna host an event, make the event like a consistent Saturday event, and just open up your doors and just put out the invite. And if people show up, they show up with like no expectation, right? Like yeah, you don't got to show up, whatever. And I think that by having once you start to make something kind of obligatory, it begins to be a burden. And so if you're trying to build a community, at least for a good period of time, don't make anything obligatory. Um, and I think that you may attract some people with that effort. So hopefully that works out. Dustin says, "What's up, Olu? Sorry, guys, I wasn't reading the chats as I was talking to Olu. I was just trying to chat with him. Otherwise, I would have said your guys' name and said that you said hello. So I apologize for that. You know what? Fuck it. Let's call him back. Let's call him back. Dustin and QQ took their time to say hello to Olu, so Olu needs to know. We're calling Olu back right now. Because why not? He's like, what do you want? I'm at work. Brother.
What's up, man?
So the viewers gave me the thumbs up that I got to call Olu, right? So then I was chatting at you, and the chat feed kept scrolling, but you and I were talking. I wasn't watching the chat feed. So a lot of the guys, and I don't know, maybe a girl. There might be a girl. If there's a girl in the chat, give me a heart. If there's a girl in the chat right now, throw me a heart, guys. But probably just dudes. So I want you to know that Dustin Chestnut, he says, "What's up?" My man QQ, he says, "Olu, what's it like hanging out with Ray Williams?"
Well, well, it was a great experience. Like, I mean, I learned a lot from him. I get to see, another side of another great athlete. I mean, it was humbling for me to see how much time and how, people, a guy of his caliber with his achievements, how hungry it is, how he's very diligent and how he's very, precise with his training and, the mental part of it, is what blew me away. And he's a very, very, one thing I picked out of there is that no matter what you achieve in life and how much you reach the peak of your career in any chosen, field in life, you just have to stay humble. And his humility is just one thing that stands out for me meeting him. Like, with his, I met him and his fiancée. So he's just a very, very, very young guy. I mean, everybody have misconceptions about powerlifters and strongmen being mean and we just mean the metal, just another kind of person outside the gym. So another drive, he's so humble. I think that's just one thing I pick out from, and I learned a lot about, how I can, program myself how to listen to my body, how, in order not for me to put on more miles on my body while training or prepping for competition. So because we tend to train a lot and overwork ourselves, and when it's game day, the body's yet to recover from the training. So and you lift hard, but not don't put a lot of miles on your body.
So I hope that you guys hear the audio on it. But to summarize, Olu was saying the humility that he has, the way that he pushes himself, his dedication to the sport, and then circle back around to talk about the humility. That he's just a very humble dude, and doesn't take himself too seriously, but really loves the sport. So that's kind of what he was talking about. And then learning about pushing yourself, but not pushing yourself too much in order to be able to recover when it's game time. Um, so Seth Isaacs, he says, "Yo, what's up, man?" My buddy Adam, he says, "Hey, Olu." He calls you Mr. Small. Probably not a safe bet, Adam. Just saying, dude.
Big Biggie Smalls, back up Smalls back in the day.
back in back in the day. My man Red Death, he says what's up. Chet jumped on the chat too to say "Oh Lou," and then yeah, like a lot of these dudes are just like just super excited to see you and me talking, you know. So
It's a privilege to talk to you, sir.
so Miguel doesn't want me to forget him. So Miguel says what's going on. QQ, he wants to know when's the 1,000 pound squat coming?
For me right now, I mean, where I am right now with my squad, I think I would say I'm very lucky and blessed in terms of what I've been through. You know, well, in this career, man, I started out being a very strong, static lifter in terms of my powerlifting background back home in Nigeria. But little people don't really know that I suffered a torn meniscus in my right knee, and that set me back. It set me back a lot for 2 years. Even I went to World's Strongest Man, with that injury. So I think since I had that injury, I think from November last year now, just when I really think I'm enjoying to squat again, and I've been able to put up you know, put up 805 on the bar and squat now. So right now, the 1,000 pounds is out there, but right now, I wouldn't say when it's going to happen, but I know it's definitely going to happen someday. I'm willing to do the work to achieve that. So right now, I just have small goals, and I have to achieve them slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly till I hit that big goal of 1,000 pounds.
So my man says, "Slow your roll, goddammit! It's coming." He says he got some short term goals. He's dealing with some injuries that have been nagging on him for a long time, but he believes that the 1,000 pound squat will happen, and he's working on it. My man Andy Tuck jumps in and he says, "Hey, some of my favorites." So I imagine that he's talking about. I'm not sure, Andy. I don't want to presume, but I imagine he's talking about you and me, kind of jumping on a video together because this is a bit of a collab, isn't it? Kind of an impromptu collab. You didn't know that you were going to collab with me today when you woke up. Surprise. um. So my buddy Walter says he's got to go. Walter, have a good night or day. Adam, he says, Olu, remember, train to spite, because that's the motto of the channel. Seth says, what's up, Olu? Talking about that's your big motivation. My man Nick Blevins jumped in, so he says, what's up? Miguel, he's asking about where your deadlift's at these days. Any comments on your deadlift?
On my deadlift right now, I mean, with my deadlift right now, I'm still knocking on the door with the eights. I've not tested out the deadlift in a while. I'm just, doing the work. I'm not that kind of a person that really pushes for PRs if I don't have a meet coming up. I think I do well in competitions than me training in the gym. I take control of the atmosphere and the ambience. So right now, I think my last PR is sitting over 12 months now. It's still 775, but I think right now I have 805, 815 in me right now.
So if you beat that 800 deadlift, I'm gonna have to come back there and reset it, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I can't wait to train deadlift again, though.
So interesting news for you, and then kind of for everyone else. I believe that when I return back to the States, I'll be at Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Oh, that's good.
So I won't be able to get up in the Maryland area, but I'm still within shot of getting out to come see you
Yeah.
guys for a long weekend or whatever. So that'll be the plan is be able to get out there and get with you guys on long weekends or something like that. Um, okay, cool. So I don't want to keep holding you up at work. I just wanted to check back in because a number of people were jumping in and want to say hi to you. So I figured I'd let you know that pretty much everyone that watches me knows exactly who you are and watches you and Brian and those guys too. So I owe I owe so much of any measure of like success that I have with YouTube started with you guys and started with the time that I spent with you and Brian and Nick and those guys, and it's just awesome, man. So I owe you guys a great debt, and I love you guys very very much.
Yo, you too, man. We love you, brother.
All right, man. Hey, do me a favor. I want you. Do me a favor. See if you can catch this. Next time Brian's doing a video, sneak up on him, give him a big like bear hug, and be like, hey, "That's from Brad." And maybe he'll maybe he'll leave it in the video. Like let him know. Like bear hug his ass. Like interrupt him. He'd be like, "Brad told me to do it," and maybe he'll put that in his next video. That'll be my way of collabing with Brian.
All right,
Because I totally would. Thanks.
all right, brother.
Thanks, bud.
All right, man.
We'll see you.
See you soon, bro.
All right. So that's Olu. So we're not going to bother Olu anymore, guys. I'm sorry, but he's at work. But man, I love that dude. All right. Where are we at now? Yes, Adam. He did a video with Rogue where he was hanging out with Ray Williams. Pretty cool. Nick, do I recommend camber bar or buffalo bar or work around shoulder pain when squatting? So yeah, I mean, like I'm a huge fan of pivoting, right? So whenever you have an issue or shortcoming, well, something's not going the way that you want it to go, or you're having pain that's caused by something, I'm a huge fan of pivoting. So for you, if you find that a camber bar helps, then use a camber bar. If you find that a buffalo or duffalo bar helps, then do that, right? Like do what works. Don't do what's not working. So whatever it is that's causing pain, like if you have a squat session and you're squatting and you find that you got a lot of shoulder pain immediately following a straight bar squat, the straight bar squat is probably exacerbating the issue. So I would recommend some mobility work to work on stretching and improving the overall mobility of the shoulder. But then also I would recommend doing some stuff that's not going to aggravate it for a period of time, and that may be Camebird, Duffalo, Buffalo, whatever. I'm not in love with one over another. It might just be a matter of what you have access to. So that would be kind of how I'd recommend that. Let me know if that helps. Chet, um, dude, you let me know, man. You want to come link up and get a session in or whatever else? I'll be your Huckleberry. Um, yeah, Olu's a good dude. I mean, just through and through. I mean, I'm just kind of a goofball. But Olu's the real deal, man. I love that guy. And and I want to point out to you guys, like Olu and I spent maybe a plum total of let's let's be gracious and say we spent a plum total of 9 hours with one another, same time, same space, same room. And I would say that first day, probably 1.5 or 2 of those hours, I didn't talk to anybody. So that very first day that I went to Neversate, I didn't talk to anybody. I wasn't trying to get anyone's face. I wasn't trying to go talk to Brian. I wasn't trying to go talk to Olu. I mean, I obviously knew who they were because I watched the channel and was a fan of Brian's channel before I ever went out there. So I knew who they were. But I didn't want to be that dude that was all up in their face, like, hey, 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 hey. All I wanted was to get out there and to be in the gym and have an opportunity to film for the channel. And just to say, hey guys, I'm here, blah, 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 blah. I never expected, excuse me, I never expected that I would have an opportunity to be able to interact and dialogue with them, and then much less become their friend. And I don't have any clue how it ended up happening or what the draw was. But at some point in the session, if you look at the very first video of me out at Never Say, one of my video, you can see Olu kind of comes around at one point in time and starts kind of cheering me on for my deadlifts. After that, like Olu and I hung out straight up, like that was it. Like Olu and I were like this, and we spent pretty much the rest of the time like right next to each other. Um, and I don't know what bonded us so quickly, but we just bonded quickly. And then even even more to my amazement was the effort, or is the effort, that he's shown since then to stay in touch with me. I mean, like he just calls me randomly, which is like, I don't know, it's like unfathomable. I think it's fucking amazing. Like, how many people do you know, even friends, even people that you love and adore, that just call you randomly? Probably not that many. Um, but his effort is just is a reflection of his character, and he's just an amazing, amazing character. I got nothing but amazing things to say about him. I love him, and I can't wait to be in the same time and space with him. Uh, so you're right. He is a true inspiration. I don't know what I am. I'm something, but I don't know if I'm a true inspiration. Oh, that was from Miguel. Miguel mentioned that about the inspiration piece. So yeah, Miguel, you're right. Olu is an inspiration, and I'm just a fucking goofball. Nick, um, you don't have either. Was going to buy one. Camber bar or a buffalo bar. I like the Duffalo bar from Kabuki. I enjoy that. So if I had to pick one bar to buy as a specialty bar, I would go and look at the Kabuki Strength Duffalo bar, Nick, um, probably in that black oxide finish. Black oxide tends to finish real well and hold up real well. So I'm just generally a big fan of black oxide. So if you were going to buy a bar, that would be the bar that I would recommend, because you can use it to help you with your shoulder issues while you're squatting, and you can also use it for benching. You can use it for some overhead press work and things like that. Whereas a cambered bar, I think, um, is less applicable for those movements. So that's just my opinion, man. Hope that helps. Um, Chet says, fuck yeah. I'm telling you, Chet, dude, holler at me, man. I mean, it'll be pretty clear when I'm where I'm supposed to be, because you'll see it on the IG and all that other stuff. So you'll get a sense of when I'm in the area. And I'm telling you, man, anytime you want to link up, you let me know. You can either, pop up and check out my spread, or we'll train somewhere, or I'll come down, or we'll meet somewhere, or whatever. But I'm a big fan of linking up with people, especially good people. And I'm never against making a new friend, especially like in person. You know what I mean? So yeah, dude, just holler at your boy. I'm all about that noise. Dustin, it's obvious with Olu that. Oh yeah, dude, Olu's heart is huge, man. Yeah, yeah, Dustin. Olu's. I just can't say enough, man. Olu's a great dude. If I try to quantify it, I'm just gonna ramble and sound like an idiot. He's just a solid ass dude, and I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him. Adam says, you agree? Just turning my phone around, and I met Andrea Thompson. We sure didn't get along. Cool. I'm not. I'm not familiar with Andrea Thompson as a person or as an athlete, and I don't feel bad because apparently you didn't either. But yeah, it's cool. You just meet people and they're just like, yeah, I did X, Y, and Z, and you're like, oh my god, you won the world's strongest man 5 times. That's fucking crazy. Um, I think like when you do really great shit, like you have an obligation just to be, a normal human being, right? Like be an ambassador of the sport, not an ambassador of you. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of really cool people out there that have done some really cool shit, and it's all absolutely inspiring. All right, cool, Nick. I'm glad that the advice or the recommendation helps. At least consider it. If you end up deciding that the Cambridge bar or whatever is better for you, or you feel like that might be a more appropriate fit, then do whatever you got to do. I feel like the Duffalo bar is a more well-rounded tool that will have more applications for more things. As a kind of a homeowner gym myself, or I have my own personal gym in my garage. I look at something that's going to have the most application, so the best bang for the buck. And sure, there's some really targeted, finite, specialty stuff that I could get, but is that more important than something that's going to have broader application? I say no. So again, food for thought. All right, QQ, eat some lunch, man. Feed the beast. Appreciate you checking in very much. And yeah, man, take care. Chet, you got to hit some deadlifts. All right, Chet, enjoy the deadlifts, man. And we'll see you on the other side, brother. Um, cool. I haven't had any problems with Titan, Nick. Some people have complained about Titan. Their packaging is not all that great, but their shipping's pretty cheap. So you get that cost risk benefit. Um, but the quality of their equipment I think is generally pretty great, and what they're putting out for the cost I think is amazing, and they're making home gyms way more accessible. So the entry point to have your own garage gym now is way lower than it ever was in history, and I think that's it's just an amazing thing. So I'm super positive on Titan and all the stuff that they're doing. I think it's great. All right, guys. We're going on an hour and a half at this point. If you guys have some more questions, drop them in the box here, soon, because I'm going to look to kind of wrap it down. I don't want to stretch this out too long because while several of you have hung with me like kind of the whole duration, an hour and a half kind of thing like this is a bear to sit through, and I don't imagine many or most people will. So I don't want to make it too much more unbearable. Carl, he says just got Titan X2. Shipping was an experience, but can't complain. Customer service was awesome. Carl, yeah, I think in the wake of some of the things that have gone on, especially like, look at Alan Thrall's video about, Titan sucks, a lot of negative publicity. And so I think Titan's doing the best thing that it can do, which is, kind of double down on its customer service, and try to be the best that they can be in that avenue. So that bodes well for consumers. All right, Skylar, I appreciate you checking in, man. Get back to work. Don't work too hard and enjoy yourself. It is work though, so there's that. All right, cool. I think perhaps we'll wrap it down, guys. Flesh, jumping in, man. Okay, cool. Glad to see you jumping in for the live stream. You caught it toward the tail end, but I'm glad to see you here, man. Nick, good night, man. Hey, good luck on the test. I hope that you pass it. I hope that you get in with the sheriff's office. That's awesome, dude. Um, my dad was a state trooper, so growing up as a child, my dad was a police officer my whole life. So I've got nothing but positive feelings about our policemen and women out there. So sheriff, troopers, whatever or otherwise, I think it's all awesome. So good luck with you, brother. Let's see what else. Adam's dipping out. Appreciate it. Glad you enjoyed the live feed, man. Take care. Red Death. Hey, man, hit the fucking gym, bro. I don't know why you're waiting on the live stream to end, but I appreciate you checking it out. I hope that you crush it. I think tomorrow for me is Saturday, so it's late as hell tonight with me right now. It's 3 a.m. my time, so I'm gonna get some sleep. But when I wake up, I'm gonna hit the gym tomorrow on my Saturday. Um, Dustin, enjoy work, man. I appreciate you checking it out. Carl, I'm sorry, man. I do appreciate you jumping in, even if it's on the tail end. It means a lot for me that any of you guys are willing to jump in, especially these live ones, right? Like, because it's fairly unstructured. It's just kind of me ranting and talking about something that I wanted to talk about, and then just spending a lot of time responding to you guys. But I hope this one turned into something fun. We kind of want to talk with Olu, bringing him on. That was a surprise. I certainly didn't plan on that. But that dude's amazing. But yeah, guys, all right, we'll wrap it down. You guys are getting ready to go do things that you need to get done anyway. So I appreciate you watching the video. I appreciate you checking out. I appreciate your questions and comments. If you guys are new to the channel or haven't been around for very long, I absolutely welcome, questions, comments, all that stuff. Any opportunity that I have to be able to help you guys, make sure you leave it in the chat box on this video or any other video. Hit me on IG. Super welcome and open to, hitting you guys back and responding or making videos directly answering your questions. That really that keeps my clock wound, right? Like it keeps me going to be able to do that kind of stuff with and for you guys. So I certainly appreciate that. Simon, hope you have a good weekend as well. So yeah, keep hitting me up on the posts. You guys can help me an awful lot with likes, shares, and subscribes. The channel's been growing amazingly recently. And what I find that helps most is, take your phone and just show somebody one of my videos versus linking it on something. If you just show people my videos, it tends to help out quite a lot, and they'll check me out in their own time. So that's really cool, and I appreciate that. Miguel, you're welcome. Thank you a million. I appreciate the support. You've been with the channel for a long time, as you say, and I'm super appreciative of that. Yeah, guys, remember, no matter what it is you think you can't do, train to spite. After this live chat ends, if you guys owe some gym time, get your ass to the gym. Train to spite. You're either going to find an excuse or you're going to find a way. And I hope that you guys continue to find that way. Got some really exciting stuff coming in the future. I'm going to be working on those t-shirts and stuff like that. Got to come up with a plan for it, but I intend to roll it out. Flesh, you take care too, man. And hey, you better pay that gym tax. I appreciate you guys very much. Your dad commented. I love that name. I won't be competing in the US again until after November timeframe of this year. Once I'm back in the States, I'll poke around and take a look at when some meets are and probably just do some small local stuff and just have some fun. So that'll probably be the deal, Jim Dad, or your dad. Sorry, dude. There was a couple of dads jumping around on the channel. All right. Last chance. Any other questions? Otherwise, I want to pop out because you guys got shit to do, and I got some sleep to get, and I got some beer to drink. Love beer. All right. Nothing heard. You guys enjoy your evening. I'll see you on the other side. I appreciate you very much. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.